So I actually found a letter on one of these doors. It's basically an eviction notice. It says this letter is to inform you that the city of blank taken possession of this condominium complex, including your unit. The environmental court issued a court order approving the sale of the entire complex to the city.
Hey, I'm back here with Christian.
Hello everybody.
Christian, I've been playing you this little bit of video. This is called Dark Exploration Films. He went out with Big Banks. And yesterday, Big Banks was the video I made of the empty houses. And this is a person that was with him. And he's just said that on the door, on one of the houses, it was to, to get them out. It was a court order.
Evacuation order.
Yeah, so it's these houses. These ones. So what do you make of that?
Well, they were obviously evacuated for a reason, or thrown out the area. I mean, we first believed that it was down to water poisoning. Or,
but it does say environmental people have done the court order. But what he says is the town is buying the houses.
Yeah, to me it sounds more like an eviction notice that's taking place, and either perhaps they were development for something else.
Well, another company has taken over and was supposed to redevelop it, but they haven't.
No, that got cancelled as well. So it's sinister that they were probably told something of that effect, and then the land got sold on and they were evicted. You know, that's more or less what he says, isn't it?
But if you've bought the house, how can you be evicted when you've bought it? So what this would have to be is, this would have to be, well, what do we call them? Council. No, it would have to be... Well, where they live would be the owners of this or something. If you've bought the house, they can't just evict you like that, can they?
No, they can't, because in recent times they've come up with this law.
Like in Spain?
It's called eminent domain, and I don't know exactly what it entails, but it's like the government can just take whatever you own. One of my friends, I've known for about 5 years, she owns a bit of land, and she was told that some of her land was going to get taken by eminent domain for sustainable development. And you think, okay, you know, and to me it doesn't make any sense. I mean, at the end of the day, if you own the land, you own the land.
Do you know what else is really weird about this housing estate? So it could be older. Some of the trees are quite big. You know, right in front of their houses. He stands, in his video, which you can watch there, it's called Toxic Evacuation Abandoned Neighbourhood with 300 Houses. And it's called Dark Exploration Films. He stands by a tree and he says, look at the size of everything. Look at me on the tree. Look how big these trees are. So why would they build a housing estate in the trees? The trees would have to have been smaller, and then they've not... This has been empty for... It can't be 2017. It's got to be longer.
I never thought about that, you know. When you consider that some of the trees are right next to the houses, I mean, right next to them. Yeah, you're right, because they don't build houses right next to trees, do they? They make sure the area's clear first.
And all these houses, but the houses don't look that old.
No, I mean, to me they look, I don't know, 10, 15 years old, 20 at
But the trees are much bigger. Like, one of the trees, it's got to be 200 years old or something.
This tree is absolutely enormous. It's been a while since I've seen a tree this big. But this tree has probably been here since this whole property's been here. Probably before the homes. And here it sits, still surviving. I mean, look at me compared to the trunk. I would need like 10 of me just to wrap around the trunk. Fortunately, the fate of this neighborhood is demolition.
You know, I never give that much thought.
I mean, we've got a tree here now, and you have to, I mean, obviously it's his video, and I've taken that little bit out, and I don't want strikes, but they explain it better. It's through them I've realised things. But these trees are big. Some of the trees are much bigger than this, and they're all around the houses like this. You would not build houses with great big trees there.
No, you're right. I mean,
so what's happened there then?
That's critical thinking on a higher level, because when you look at these houses, they are more or less covered by the trees. You know, most of them aren't they? You know, and it's beggars belief that if they were got evacuated.
Even these ones here, right? They're enormous. They're much bigger than the houses. If the housing estate had not been there that long, These trees would not have been as big, but these are all great big. It's almost as if the houses are 100 years older than they're saying, but they don't look that old, and they've got modern equipment in them and modern kitchens. So I don't know, and they're not 1960s. They look about 10, 20 years ago, kind of.
I don't know, because some houses that look like that were built in the 1920s. So I mean, but yeah, you got a good point there.
But these are all wooden houses.
Yeah, and you don't build. You don't. It's like no, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I've come across.
Right there, they're walking there. All these trees are big. Like if they went in 2017, that's only a few years ago. These trees wouldn't have been much smaller, but these are big trees.
Yeah, I think on one of Martin's videos, I made that same comment some years back, that you can clearly see that the tree is like 300-400 years old, right? But yet they said this building was built in such a date. But you think, well, they don't build houses right next to a tree.
There's one there. Look, I can't. It's just stopped here because what it is I didn't really want to use much of his video, but I just wanted to show it was the same houses as the other video. But there's a tree there. That's quite a big tree.
Yeah.
Why are the trees so big?
It's baffling, isn't it?
They're all round the houses. I mean, there's another one there. It's at least half as big as the house again above the house.
Yeah, you're right. The trees would have had to be smaller, a lot smaller.
And what they say is this place, well, a couple of the gardens look like they've been mowed, but most of it is not being looked after at all.
But I'm in agreement with you. I'd say them trees were more than 100 years old.
So why have they built the houses amongst all the trees?
Because it was different when the houses were built. Seriously.
Yes,
just imagine it.
But they all look modern inside.
That's strange, isn't it? It is very strange.
Well, anyway, should we move?
I'm gonna watch it again.
Christian, we're going to move on now because we've got a bit more to do.
So I actually found a letter on one of these doors. It's basically an eviction notice. It says this letter is to inform you that the city of blank has taken possession of this condominium complex, including your unit. The environmental court issued a court order on August blank approving the sale of the entire complex to the city. Crazy to think that one time somebody came home and they saw that letter on their door. And I'm sure for a lot of people they didn't know where to go because home is home, you know? Pretty wild. There isn't a lot here, but what I am finding is really interesting. We're starting to learn a little bit more about this entire complex.